I don't care if you have one day or if you have 5 years like I have. It doesn't matter, you know. The struggle is real, and we acknowledge that it's an incredibly difficult disease to overcome. But you know what? There is a solution out there, and I am part of that solution. You know, I'd like to think that I'm, one of the poster childs for that solution because I came from some serious bad news, and um, part of that bad news is in July of 2017, I got into a fight with a gentleman who ended up dying. And I had some serious issues, with my addiction and how it has affected me. And part of that was getting into fights and going to jail all my life. That's kind of the way I coped with life, you know. And um, so I thought I was going away for life, you know. Quite potentially, they could have done that. The courts could have sent me away forever if they wanted to, if they really had a serious vendetta against me. And by all accounts, I kind of set them up for that. But by the grace of God, I was able to escape that. Um, I still take responsibility for what I did. I may have not caused his death because he had a pre-existing condition that exacerbated the whole situation and him dying. But I do take responsibility for the events that led up to that situation, you know. And like I said, I could have gone away for a very long time, and jail has never been a stranger to me. Um, and one of the things that I wanted to communicate here today is that uh, you know not having the sort of support that I have today, not having the faith that I am grounded in today. If I didn't have these things, then I would most certainly be in the same predicament, and that is whenever we think of addiction, um, we tend to stigmatize it in a way that says, well, that person, he's got so much trouble, or, they got broken relationships, or um, they have, all these things going on in their personal lives. They don't have a job or whatever. You think that would be uh, enough pain in order for them to get back on their feet, but it really isn't. One of the things that I hear inside the meetings that I go to is that alcohol and addiction is cunning, baffling, and powerful. And without help, it is too much for us. And I take that very much to heart because I lived in that sort of prison um, of, you know, of that same thing happening over and over. And you've heard the saying, right? uh, um, uh, Doing something over and over again and expecting different results is the exact definition of insanity, right? I like it in another way. I like put it in another way. Albert Einstein said, "You cannot solve a problem at the same level of thinking you were at when it was created." Um, Simply put, two and two make four. But how I got to the answer is a different frame of mind from how I formulated the question, right? And you might think that that's, sort of self-explanatory, right? But how many times do we get ourselves into relationship problems over and over, or we get ourselves into trouble over and over, or we try to stop on our own drinking and drugging over and over. We use those same tools that were outdated, the same tools that we used in our addiction, is the tools that we try to use to get sober, and that's just, it's not practical. So I had to transcend, above my current way of thinking. I had to take myself out of the picture for a minute in order for me to really see uh, 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 the accurate landscape around me. And that was that I was in my own way from learning what could have possibly and is the best possible thing that has ever happened in my life. To be able to be surrounded by a great group of people in recovery who congratulate me in my recovery, who lift me up when I need that, especially during times when things get really hairy. Um, so um, when I got out of jail, um, I made a pact with my higher power that I was going to seek and be willing and to be open and to be honest with my predicament, and to make sure that whatever he guides me into, that I will be willing enough to be able to work on that. I still got a lot of problems. I mean, I'm not fully cured. This is not one and done. It's not a one-stop shop. You've got to constantly be you got to constantly be on your toes, and when one thing comes, then you got to go through it, not over it, not under it, not around it. You got to face those demons and make sure that you are that you are attuned with those who are trying to help you along in your recovery. I got a job. I got a place. I got a car. These are all things that are normal, I guess, to a lot of the folks, who go out and pay the price every day, right? But this is huge. It's humongous to me. And this is part of the part of my recovery that keeps me sober, is that when I look at what I got, at the end of the day, after I'm done griping and bitching, at the end of the day, the most important part is to look at what you're creating and say, oh my God, look at how far I've come, which is a million miles from where I was. And I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. And so that's sort of the $5 version of my experience, strength, and hope. And one of the things that I'd really like to emphasize is that, when things get rough, when things get tough, and you just haven't got the will to keep going on in this recovery walk, never give up and keep coming back. Never give up and keep coming. I'm freaking 56 years old. I started getting sober when I was 51, and I can't tell you just how much dividends it paid off not to give up hope, and to keep thrusting forward. My walk is not a glide, it's a trudge, It feels like sometimes I'm lifting my feet up in Muskeg, going to the next trail, But that too passes, and eventually you get to that point where you're like, oh my goodness, this paid off so well, And I'm loving life today, and I just want to thank everybody for being here today. Nicole, thank you for putting this together, along with the other gals who have been responsible for this. I really appreciate it. This is my passion. This is what I live for now. You know, I used to be so selfish, so self-centered, and sometimes I still am, which is the reason why I'm up here sometimes, you know, giving my story. But thank God, my motive has switched. My frame of thought has switched into thinking about you first. That's what really strengthens my recovery. Is that, you know, I love this prayer. God, I offer myself to thee to give to me and to do with me as you will. Relieve me of the bondage of self so I may better do your will. Take away my difficulties that victory over them may bear witness to those I would love, those that I would help with your power, your love, and your way of life. May I do your will always. That always sets me aside. It gets me out of my way. And it gets me to the main point of what is recovery. It's to get out there, even in the midst of your worst moments, to help somebody else. And that brings a smile to your face and in turn helps you out. So thank you. I appreciate you guys being here, and that's what I got. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next up, we do have Jenny Brown.
Yeah, brother.